Hi guys, I'm the CGA, and today I decided it was time for Unova to get a new king. That's right, I'll be attempting a Pokémon White Hardcore Nuzlocke only using N's Pokémon. In Black and White, N is battled 5 times, and each time he has a completely different team. Unlike my previous runs, this actually means I'll have a good amount of encounters. For this challenge, I'll be allowing myself to fully evolve any Pokémon used by N. Zekrom won't be used since I always ban legendaries. Also, you can't actually encounter Zorua or Zoroark in this game, but it felt wrong not to use N's staple Pokemon, so I made it my starter. Before I start, be sure to comment down below who you think the MVP of this run will be. The rule set I'll be using is the standard for Hardcore Nuzlockes, but I won't be nicknaming my Pokemon because N doesn't nickname his. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and now it's time to see how the man who can speak to Pokemon ascended to the throne. Of course, I start this challenge by naming myself N, and wait a second, this isn't my castle. I free my Zorua from confinement and go listen to Ghetsis' speech in Accumula Town. Hold on, who is this guy? I'm the only one who can talk to Pokemon. After beating the imposter, I catch a Purloin on Route 2 and continue to Striaton City. Easy come, easy go as Purloin dies to this trainer in the Dream Yard so I can spare Zorua. We get so many encounters that this won't even matter.
Are you sure about that?
With Zorua at the level cap, it's finally time to take on our first gym. I clicked nothing but Pursuit against Chili as he mostly worked up and connected a Bite with Lillipup and an Incinerate with Pansear, burning away my Oranberry. Either way, I pick up the win and continue on to Route 3 where this annoying trainer challenges me, so Zorua puts him out of his misery. Then I catch a Pidove in the grass and a Roggenrola in Wellspring Cave. Of course I would never battle my own subordinates, so I just head to Nacrene City next. In Pinwheel Forest, I catch a Timber and Imposter N challenges me to another battle. His Pidove opens with Leer as Roggenrola takes it out with a Rock Blast. Next is Tympole, so I bring in Zorua, who thanks to Imposter will always appear as the last Pokemon in my party until it's hit. After getting growled, I click Pursuit and the Tadpole misses a Supersonic. Then a Feint Attack almost gets the kill as Bubble Beam does a little more chip and we finish the job with Pursuit. I switch my Pidove into a Low Kick from Timber, which doesn't do much. Then an Air Cutter and a Quick Attack are all it takes to win the battle as the Fake uses Focus Energy. Next I grind my friends up to level 20 and it's time to get our second gym badge. Lenora's Herdier hits a pretty hard takedown and hangs on after Wake Up Slap because of its Intimidate. After she heals, Timber lives one more takedown and drops the dog with 2 Wake Up Slaps. Despite getting some HP back from an Oranberry, when Watchog comes in, I decide to switch to Roggenrola, who eats a Retaliate. She gets leered as a 3-hit Rock Blast brings the Groundhog, Meerkat, Chipmunk down to half health. Hypnosis gets shrugged off thanks to a Chesto Berry, and I win the battle with a second Rock Blast. My subordinates steal the Dragon Skull from the museum, thinking it'll help us resurrect a legendary Pokemon, but we returned it after realizing it was useless. On the way to Castelia City, Pidove evolves into Tranquil, and it's time to battle Berg. Tranquil connects an Air Cutter for huge damage as Whirlipede uses Pursuit. After Berg heals, it just takes 2 more Air Cutters to knock his first Pokemon out. I switch to Roggenrola to eat a Smackdown from Dwebble, and after Struggle Bug, connect a Smackdown of my own. Another Hyper Potion comes out, but I connect 2 more, leaving the gym leader with only his ace, Leavanny. I switch back to Tranquil to tank a Razor Leaf, and since Air Cutter isn't strong enough to OHKO, use Quick Attack as I get hit with String Shot. My bird eats some more leaves and finishes the battle with an Air Cutter. While finishing some things up around town, Timber evolves into Girder and Roggenrola evolves into Boldore. Like the trainer on Route 3, this one is also deluded, thinking we're friends, and challenges me to a battle. We get a pretty easy win and move on to Route 4 where I catch a Darumaka. In the Desert Resort I catch Sandile, which means I won't be able to use Sigilyph in this run. In hindsight, I should have used Repels to go to Relic Castle first and get a guaranteed Sandile. Then I would have had a chance of catching either Scraggy or Sigilyph in the Desert Resort. Speaking of Relic Castle, I picked the Plume Fossil over the Cover Fossil since Archeops is easily better than Caracosta, and move on to Nimbasa City. Fake N takes me on the Ferris wheel where he's convinced he's me. He even has my subordinates fooled. In order to get them to see the truth, I have no choice but to battle again. After an embargo, Girder slaps this croc into its grave. Then I switch Zorua in against Sigilyph, who sets up Tailwind. Air Cutter does about half my health, and the Flying Unknown lives a Feint Attack on 1 HP. I risk an Air Cutter crit as Zorua lives and gets the kill with Feint Attack. Tranquil comes in to eat a headbutt from Scraggy, but after an Air Cutter, she gets swaggered. Girder switches into a Brick Break, and after dodging Swagger, claims another kill with Wake Up Slap. Last is Darumaka, who misses Fire Punch thanks to Hustle as I connect a Slap. Another Fire Punch misses, and we take the win with Chip Away. Now it's time for Elisa. I lead Sandile against her first Emolga and decide to use Torment just in case it wanted to spam double team. I take an Aerial Ace pretty well thanks to Intimidate, but next turn I miss Rock Tomb as Quick Attack hits for a bit more damage. I switch Boldore into an Aerial Ace and then it's right back to Sandile to get another Intimidate drop and Nullify Volt Switch. Another Aerial Ace hits, but I connect Rock Tomb, meaning now I outspeed the Flying Mouse and kill it with another. Sandile levels up and learns Crunch, which I use on the next Emolga for solid damage as Aerial Ace brings me into the red and Static paralyzes me. I switch to Boldore on the heal, and as Emolga Volt switches into Zebstrika, I land a Smackdown. Spark doesn't do much damage, but a second Smackdown isn't enough to KO the Zebra. Since it only has physical moves, I decide to set up an Iron Defense as Elisa heals. Then it hits Flame Charge for almost nothing as I throw another rock at it. After a weak Spark, a crit Smackdown gets the kill. Down to only an Emolga, Elisa brings Boldore down to the red with Volt Switch, but we get the win with a super effective Smackdown. On our way to Driftville City, we get stopped again by Sharon for a battle. After Zorua gets faked out, I switch Girder into a Torment from Liepard. Fury Swipes connects, but one Wake Up Slap is all it takes to knock the Leopard out. With Tranquil on the field, I switch to Boldore to eat a crit Air Cutter. After a second crit, Smackdown gets a kill. Darumaka hits the field for the first time against Pansage, and after tanking a Seed Bomb, gets a kill with Fire Punch. Pignite decides to use Rollout as I swap into Tranquil. Air Cutter does around 60%, but won't be a 2-hit kill after Citrus Berry recovery. I use Detect to stop Rollout from increasing in power, and then Roost to get some HP back as I'm hit with a Flame Charge. I bring in Darumaka to eat the next Flame Charge, and as Pignite starts using Rollouts again, I miss Thrash. Thanks a lot, Hustle. I can't afford to lose Darumaka, so I go back into Boldore, who takes Rollout extremely well. Unfortunately, Smackdown just isn't enough to get a kill, and then the worst case scenario happens. Pignite crits Rollout and kills Boldore. This is exactly why I need to make sure people release Pokemon and end their suffering. You'll go down as a martyr, Boldore. Girder comes in and lives the next Rollout to finish this battle with Wake Up Slap. With more conviction now than ever to achieve my goal, I continue on to Driftville City. Getsis frees our friends from Clay, and before taking him on, I evolve Sandile into Krokorok and Zorua into Zoroark. After prepping movesets and items, it's finally time to take on the Gem Tycoon. Zoroark opens with Miracle Seed boosted Grass Knots to Oko, Krokorok, and Palpitoad. Then I bring Eviolite Girder into a Bulldoze from Excadrill. Next turn we both set up, but Clay gets greedy and goes for his second Hone Claws, resulting in his loss via Wake Up Slap. After beating Bianca on Route 6, Tranquil evolves into Unpheasant and I can finally use Fly. I quickly backtrack to Nacrene to revive Archon and continue on to Chargestone Cave where I catch a Joltik. This sadly means we won't be using Ferroseed. Imposter N seems to have brainwashed all of Team Plasma into turning against me as I fight my way through the cave to be challenged once again. Krokorok opens with a Crunch as Boldore uses Iron Defense. Then, despite a second Iron Defense, I get a crit Dig for a kill. Joltik is also no match for Dig, but when Ferroseed comes in, I go to Darumaka. Metal Claw does basically nothing as a 4x effective Fire Punch gets a knockout. Last is Clink, who connects a Charge Beam after Fire Punch misses, but next turn we connect for the win. I arrive at Mistralton City and realize I never got my encounter at Cold Storage, so I fly back to catch a Vanillite. Darumaka and Vanillite both evolve at our new level cap of 35, so after grinding the team up, we're ready for Skyla. Black Glass's Zoroark kicks us off with a Night Slash kill. I stay in and hit Unpheasant with the same as it connects an Air Cutter for about a third of my health. Next turn, Night Slash claims another victim and Skyla's ace Swanna comes in. I think it's no surprise that I click Night Slash as Air Slash brings Zoroark down to 25 HP. Knowing Skyla is gonna heal, I can just use 2 more to wrap this one up. Krokorok, stop telling lies. Now with the ability to use Surf, I can get a few more encounters. On Route 18 I catch a Scraggy, and at the P2 laboratory I catch Clink. While traveling through Twist Mountain, Joltik evolves into Galvantula and I arrive at Isuris City. Here I can catch our final team member, Palpitoad. Super scary moment here as Galvantula's Signal Beam got it down to the red and confused it, but by crazy luck it was holding a Person Berry so it didn't knock itself out and I could catch it. While grinding for the next gym, Scraggy evolves into Scrafty, which is one of my favorite Gen 5 Pokemon, and Clink evolves into Clang. Believe it or not, this is my first time ever using Darmanitan and he is such a beast. I'm easily able to Oko all of Bryson's ice types with Fire Punches and we get on our merry way. While fighting my way to Imposter N in Dragon Spiral Tower, Archon evolves into Archeops, who's just as incredible as Darmanitan, and Palpitoad evolves into Seismitoad. At the top of the tower, the fake has tricked Reshiram into thinking he's the legendary hero and the two of them fly off. In order to stop him from succeeding in whatever his heinous plan is, I go to Relic Castle to find the Dark Stone so I can revive Zekrom. Getsis tells me the stone isn't here, but I'm able to get it from Lenora and Nakreen. The reason I haven't shown a fight against Bianca yet was because I was waiting for this one. And before we get into it, let me just say, I'm sorry. Even at -1 attack, Scrafty is able to take the first kill with Brick Break. So far so good, right? Wrong. Her level 40 Samurott comes out next, in the rain, and this thing is thick. I swap Galvantula into a Slash, and now the plan is to use Electro Web to lower this thing's speed and kill with an Electro Ball. The thing that I didn't account for was that it has Aqua Jet. Wanting to save my big spider, I swap Seismitoad into the next Aqua Jet. After another, I'm in the red, but I'm sure Uproar will kill. Oh no. Now that I'm locked into Uproar, Bianca heals her Harbinger of Terror and kills Seismitoad. I think of a very risky strategy to get me out of this battle without any more casualties, so I bring in Scrafty. After a Swagger, Samurott hits itself for a solid chunk of damage. Next turn I Brick Break, but it doesn't get the kill and the Otter connects a Slash. This allows Bianca to heal again, and after another Brick Break, I Swagger again. In hindsight, this was a terrible idea as Scrafty gets +4 revenged into his grave. I bring Galvantula back out to hopefully finish the Otter off, but it breaks through Confusion again for a third kill. I decide my best chance at a kill now is to use my Adamant Darmanitan and his massive attack stat. Luckily, Samurott hits itself when going for Aqua Jet and we take it out with Thrash. But we're not even done with the battle yet. Masharna comes in next, and due to its high defense, Thrash only does around 50% as it defense curls. Since Darmanitan gets confused now, I can safely switch into Zoroark, who dodges a Hypnosis. Night Slash gets the kill, and last is Simisear. After a Night Slash doesn't finish the monkey, Zoroark eats a Flame Burst and finally gets us out of this disaster. Those 3 deaths are completely on me since I didn't think I'd need to do any planning before that battle. Thankfully, we still have power in the PC and can push on with our journey. The last of the gym leaders standing between me and realizing my dream is Iris with her dragons. Luckily, I have an Ice Cream Cone, Never Melt Ice, and Ice Beam. The move Dragon Tail was introduced in this game, and when it lands, it causes the Pokemon in the opponent's field to randomly get swapped out. However, if I only bring one Pokemon to the battle, there isn't anything to switch to. Since Iris's Haxorus outspeeds Vanillish, who I can't let get swapped out, I'll be risking the entire run on a single crit. We Ice Beam Fracture and Druddigon for one-hit kills, and now it's the moment of truth. Will Dragon Tail crit? Oh, she goes for Dragon Dance. Well, that's that then. Time for Victory Road. After the Bianca fiasco, I actually planned for my fight with Sharon, which went off without a hitch. While passing through Route 10, Krokorok evolves into Crocodile, and I make it to the Pokemon League. During final prep and grinding, Vanillish evolved into Vanillux and Clang into Klinklang. With the whole team at level 50, here's the squad I brought to the Elite Four. The first member I decided to take on was Chantal, the Ghost-type user. I lead Black Glass's Zoroark disguised as Crocodile against her Cofagrigus. Night Slash brings the Sarcophagus low as it hits a not very effective Shadow Ball. Although Chantal heals twice, I'm able to just spam Night Slashes and get the kill with Feint Attack. Golurk is next, but its high attack stat stabs it in the back as Zoroark OHKOs with Foul Play. Chandelure and Jellicent both get dropped by Night Slashes, and that's one member down. Next we have Grimsley, the Dark-type trainer. Archeops leads off with an Acrobatics kill on Scrafty and learns Rock Slide on the level up. Darmanitan comes in to eat a Metal Claw from Bisharp and outspeed for a Fire Punch kill on the next turn. Then Eviolite Girder switches into an Earthquake from Crocodile that does less than half his HP. Unfortunately, the next one crits and we lose our fighting type. I bring in Archeops hoping to get the OHKO with Acrobatics, but just barely come up short. Foul Play almost kills me, and now due to his ability Defeatist, Archeops' attack stat gets cut in half. I click U-turn to get some damage down and switch out after Grimsley heals, but actually crit to leave the Croc in the red. I bring in Darmanitan knowing he'll outspeed and click Fire Punch. Grimsley heals again and I kill with one hit, which is so annoying since that means I lost Girder for nothing. Finally, Liepard tickles me with Fake Out and I punch it into Cinders. I was planning to use Girder in later fights, so now I'll have to adjust some strategies. Knowing I need to forge on, I head to the Psychic type user Caitlin's room. Black Glass's Crocodile leads off with a huge crunch to kill Reuniclus. Then Sigalith comes out, so I switch to Expert Belt Zoroark to eat an Ice Beam and kill on the next turn with Night Slash. Gothitelle is next, who also dies to Night Slash, leaving Caitlyn with just her Masharna. I use Foul Play for around 60%, keeping Masharna out of healing range and allowing Zoroark to win the battle next turn with Night Slash. The last member of the Elite Four is Marshall, who's a master of fighting types. Archeops opens with an Acrobatics to kill Throw, but then Sawk comes in who has Sturdy. In order to avoid Defeatist activating, I U-turn to break Sturdy and bring in Darmanitan, who's able to live a Stone Edge. Next turn he outspeeds and gets a kill with Fire Punch. I thought King Keldor was gonna use Stone Edge against Darmanitan, so I switched to Kling Clang, but it was actually Hammer Arm which decimated my Steel Buddy. Kling Clang's sacrifice let me get a free switch back to Archeops, who took out King Keldor and the Mienshao in the back with 2 clicks of Acrobatics. I make it to the Champions Room where Imposter N has just disposed of Alder for me, and then I'm finally welcomed home to my castle. On the 3rd floor, I'm able to access the PC and conveniently have 2 Pokemon left, Unpheasant and Vanillux, who round out the team. I use rare candies to get everyone up to level 52 before the last 2 battles of the game and proceed to the throne room. Finally, Zekrom recognizes me as the legendary hero, and since you need to catch it to progress the story, I chuck my Master Ball. When prompted with the option to add the monster to the party, of course I say no, and now it's time to settle things once and for all. I lead Soft Sand Crocodile, who takes big damage from Fusion Flare as Reshiram lives a dig. I switch Darmanitan in on the heal and fire off a superpower for around 60% as the Fake consciously uses the not very effective Fusion Flare. Needing to get Darmanitan's stats back to neutral, I bring in Archeops, who takes a little under half from Hyper Beam, meaning Defeatist won't activate. I'm able to kill Reshiram with a Rock Slide, and then Vanillux meets the same fate. When Caracosta comes in, I switch to my own Vanillux, expecting a Waterfall. Unfortunately, the turtle uses Stone Edge, killing my Ice Cream. This allows me to get a clean switch to Zoroark, who I retaught Grass Knot to. Regretting not U-turning when I switched Archeops out, Sturdy activates, but Caracosta misses Stone Edge, so my next Grass Knot kills. I switched Darmanitan into a Focus Blast from Kling Clang, meaning this is actually Zoroark, but it isn't enough for a kill. Next turn, Fire Punch decimates the Illusionist, and Archeops is sent in. The plan was always to sack something to this thing, and unfortunately, Unpheasant is the girl for the job. Now I can get my own Archeops in, who's faster and connects a Rock Slide for a kill. Last is Kling Clang, so I U-turn for some chip and bring Crocodile back in, who isn't affected by Thunderbolt. Then it just takes 1 dig to finish the job. Getsis loses his mind and challenges me, his own son, to a battle. My party was healed between fights, but I won't be using Vanillux or Unpheasant since they died. Crocodile opens with a crunch for over half of Cofagrigus' health and gets hit with Toxic. Unable to get the double protect to continue his stall, another crunch takes down Getsis' first Pokemon. His Ace Hydreigon is next, and I have no choice but to look away as Surf wastes my Croc. I get Darmanitan in for free and outspeed to kill the monster with a superpower. Bouffalant is next, and I go to Archeops, who resists Head Charge. Acrobatics isn't enough to kill, and I say goodbye to my bird as Wild Charge ends his life. Now Darmanitan comes back in at neutral stats and superpowers on the heal for another kill. With Seismitoad in, I swap to Zoroark, who lives in Earthquake and kills with a 4 times effective Grass Knot. All Zoroark can do now is get a little chip damage with Night Slash before dying to Bisharp. My last Pokemon, Darmanitan, comes back in for a 1v2. He outspeeds and kills with Fire Punch, leaving Getsis with only his Electros. Flare Blitz actually has a 1% chance of not killing here, so let's see if I'm the unluckiest person on the planet. Nope. I get the Oko and have finally claimed what is rightfully mine. Unova, hail your new king, N. Unbelievably, I lost 12 Pokemon during this run, with Darmanitan being the sole survivor. Granted, 4 or 5 of them were due to a lack of planning, but that's a lot of loss. Be sure to let me know in the comments down below what you'd like to see next, and don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. Thanks so much for watching, and remember, any challenge can be beaten if you just use your head.